Fever 1793, Chapter 11, September 7th, 1793. Great numbers of the citizens have shut up their houses and fled into the country. Letter of Ebenezer Hazard, Philadelphia, 1793. With only one half-starved horse pulling us, it took nearly an hour to be clear of the city line. The dry road was rotted from the wagons and carriages which had fled before us. The insects were vicious. I smacked them on my arms and legs until my skin stung. Grandfather took out his handkerchief and mopped sweat off his face and neck. I waved away a mosquito that buzzed in my ear. "It's the smell of that baby," I said. "His drawers are full and it's attracting every bug for miles." Grandfather chuckled. The laughter caught in his throat and made him cough. I watched him with alarm as his face reddened. I pounded his back until he raised his arm in protest. "I am fine, child, I am fine. No need to beat me senseless." The farmer turned around in his seat and glared at them. He ain't sick, is he? I will not have fever victims in my wagon." "Take care you don't drive off the road. We are fine back here. Mind your horse," I snapped. Grandfather raised an eyebrow. "You are turning into a regular scold, Matty. Cook, you sound like your mother, ordering menfolk around." "Some menfolk need ordering." "That they do." He straightened his leg as best he could between the baskets and clothing bundles. "I propose we enjoy our carriage ride in the country. It would hardly be proper to remove my coat. But if I can beg my lady's indulgence, I will unfasten a button or two." His stiff fingers fumbled with the purer buttons until they released and he could breathe with ease. "There," he sighed. "That's better. It's time to review your soldering lessons." I groaned. From my crawling days, Grandfather had taught me all the tricks of the American and the British armies and quite a few from the French, again and again and again. It would do no good to argue. I was his captive. "A soldier needs three things to fight," he continued. He held up 3 fingers and waited for my response. "1, a sturdy pair of boots," I said. 2, a full belly. 3, a decent night's sleep. Grandfather thumped his boot on the floorboards. "Hey," protested the farmer, "my boots are sound." Grandfather belched. "Tuss, tuss," said the farmer's wife. Eliza fed me breakfast enough for 2 blacksmiths. He pulled the brim of his hat down over his eyes and settled back against a rolled-up mattress. "And now I am going to set some sleep before our coachman delivers us into the joys of the Luddington family barnyard and their auriferous pigs." "Pigs!" echoed King George. I settled in alongside him so my head rested on his chest. The rhythmic turning of the wagon wheels, the hum of insects in the barley fields along the road, and beat of Grandfather's heart blended into a lullaby. I woke when the wheels stopped turning. I had to shield my eyes from the sun. "Why are we stopping?" I asked. The farmer didn't answer, but pointed up the road. The baby cried. 4 horsemen armed with muskets blocked our way. "Robbers!" I felt for a small purse hidden in my pocket and nudged Grandfather with my elbow. The farmer left. His hand dropped to knife handle rising up from his boot. The baby wailed and the horse shifted nervously in his races. The riders advanced. One of the men lifted his head. "Don't be afraid. We mean you no harm." The farmer's hand stayed on the knife. "You are entering Pembroke," said a second man. "Planning on staying here?" "Just passing through," said the farmer. "I am taking these wolves on up to Goodnight, and his wife and me are heading for our mothers in Bethlehem." "We don't have any money," said the farmer's wife. The first man took a piece of paper from under his coat. "We aren't highwaymen, ma'am. We have been authorized by the town council to keep out fever victims. I have asked you to step down so a doctor here can have a look at you. If you aren't sick, you can pass through town. If you are, you will have to turn around." The farmer jumped to the ground. His wife handled their baby down to him, then hopped into the dust herself. I shook Grandfather to wake him. The doctor examined the little family, peering under their eyelids and looking down their throats. I shook Grandfather harder. "Wake up," I said. "There's a doctor who must see us." He didn't move. Something twisted inside me. I pinched his nose. "Grandfather," I said, my voice louder, "please wake up." "Is there a problem here, miss?" The doctor walked to the side of the wagon. He opened one of the Grandfather's eyes with his fingers. Grandfather woke with a start. "What in the name of the heaven?" Grandfather shouted. He broke off into a coughing fit. "Water!" he croaked. I looked at the man on the horseback. Can we have some water, please? We have been traveling in the sun all morning. The men looked at each other and at the doctor. Grandfather stopped coughing and leaned back wearily. I am fine, child. I can wait until we get to the farm. I seem to have contracted a summer grip. He tried to sit up straighter. No need for further delay. Off we go. The doctor stepped back and covered his mouth with his hand. Take this man back to the city, he commanded. He is infected with disease. No, the farmer shouted. One of the horsemen turned his horse and galloped away. Nonsense, grandfather said. There is nothing wrong. He broke off coughing again. I stared in horror, first at grandfather, then at the doctor. You must help him, I cried. If he is sick, you must help him. The farmer grabbed me under the arms, pulled me from the wagon, and threw me onto the road. He and the doctor lifted grandfather and deposited him beside me. King George squawked and circled above the commotion. They aren't my family, the farmer said as he motioned for his wife to climb aboard. They only rode in the back the last mile or so. They was walking and we picked them up. He's lying, I shouted. I don't have no fever, the farmer continued. My wife and baby are healthy. Let me just drive through so I can get to Bethlehem by nightfall. We won't stop for nothing. The doctor nodded to the leader of the group. Go ahead, the man said. Make haste. The farmer brought the whip down with all his strength and wagon lurched forward. I stared, mouth open, as the wagon disappeared into the cloud of dust. Our food, our clothing gone. This couldn't be happening. Go back to Philadelphia, the doctor advised. There are physicians there who will treat you. You can't stay here. We can't walk, I protest. It's miles. Have you no mercy? Asked grandfather. The leader of the group looked down on him. We have to take care of our own, sir. Grandfather glared at the man. I had never seen him so angry. He looked as if he wanted to run the man through with a sword, but he just stared. And I shall look after mine, grandfather vowed. I shall look after mine.